In this lesson, we'll take a look at how easy it is to provide views support for our custom entity. Luckily, the Entity API Contrib module comes with a views controller class we can use to get a lot of this information, basically for free. We'll take a look at that controller class and see how we can customize it if we need to provide extra support for our entity's properties. Now that our video entity is fieldable, it's almost comically easy to add support for views thanks to the Entity API Contrib module. Let's take a look at how the Contrib module helps us do this. Inside the Contrib module, there's a directory called views. Inside of that, entity.views.inc. This file contains a basic controller class which will provide our default hook views data definitions based on the schema API information in hook entity info for our video entity. Here's the controller class provided by the Entity API module, Entity Default Views Controller. One of its methods, views data, provides a way to write a basic hook views data implementation for our custom entity based on info that we're providing in hook entity info. In order to leverage this class and provide views support for our module, all we need to do is define a views controller class in hook entity info. So let's open up video entity.module, and down at the bottom of our hook entity info implementation, we'll add as an array key views controller class, and we'll pass to it entity default views controller, and we'll go ahead and save. What this will do is leverage that default implementation that we just took a look at and write all of the hook views data implementation code for us based on information from hook entity info and our hook schema, so that the properties and the fields that we've attached to our custom entity will be exposed. The hook views data implementation, provided as a default by this views controller class, will make its best attempt to guess at what our entity properties mean. If it's something beyond a simple integer or a character, a text field, we may have to provide it some additional information. In our case, with the created at and updated at fields, since those are really timestamps, we'll need to provide a little bit more information to views in order for those fields to be properly handled. We can do that in a couple of ways. We could either override this views controller class, or we can use another function called hook entity property info to describe those fields in a little bit more detail. We'll take a look at that in a further lesson, but for now, let's go back to the admin interface and take a look at how using this default views controller provides us views support for our entity. If we go up and click Structure and Views, let's make a new view, and we'll call this view Videos. We're interested in showing video entities, and let's go ahead and make a page, and we'll call this video entity view. We'll show an unformatted list of rendered entities, and let's only show one of them at a time. We don't need a pager, and we will save and exit. Now, when we visit our view, you can see the entity is being rendered via the views module. If we needed to change this view from showing the full rendered entity to just fields, we could do that very easily as well. So what the Entity Contrib module provides us is a way to get very simple views support in one line of code. It's pretty handy and gets us a lot of the way there with very little effort.